and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I've been feeling weird, I can't seem to focus good enough. Nothing's really clear, sometimes it could be a little tough. I just need to feel like the end's in sight for me, but let's be really real, anxiety.
We are back again. What is up, everybody? It is your favorite spooky, scaredy cat, and I am here with some new Reddit stories. So for this video, I wanted to do more Reddit stories. Now, these are stories that came from Reddit users that have sent in a bunch of crazy, paranormal, scary stories to me with their permission, as well as some new subscribers amongst you guys. And I got these stories started back, I want to say maybe like 2 months ago, so they've been kind of piling up, and I finally just got to make this video. And I am super thankful to all of you that have sent these stories to me. And yeah, let's just, get into it. But please send me more scary stories from you guys. I absolutely love it. And if you want to do that, I will also read them right here on my channel. And yeah, I love it when you guys send me stories, and I also in the future want to tell you guys more of my experiences and get deeper into that, because there's a lot that I left out, that I had to grow up with the paranormal, and I want to tell you guys more about that. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting video. Let's go, spooky darlings. It's time to get scared with Scaredy Cat. So our first story is from a Reddit user named Mark. I'm not going to say the other person's part of their username because I'm not sure if it is okay with them that I use their username, but of course I asked. They just forgot to tell me. So his name is Mark. Anyways, so I have a pretty scary story to tell you. I was standing in my kitchen, and my kitchen doorway faces my hallway leading to the front door. When I was standing there making coffee, I saw this man standing by my front door, just staring down at me from the hallway. And as I turned to look at him, he ran at me. Just before he got to me, he just disappeared. Poof. Needless to say, I jumped so badly. I distinctly remember the rage in this man's face, his messy brownish blonde hair. Also, what stood out was his t-shirt he was wearing. It was a white t-shirt with a dragon on the front, but the dragon was in the shape of a letter S. But this man had an expression like he wanted to, I can't say the shmurder me, but he wanted to end me. I know a negative entity is in my home. As for the second story, I was punched in the face by it, causing me to have a black eye, and it swelled up really bad. But I'm wondering if this man was the negative entity, because he looked so evil, just pure evil. Wow. Short, creepy, and definitely paranormal. What do you guys think? I think this story is interesting because one, the ghost ran at him and then just poof, disappeared. And another thing, he got punched in the face, okay, by this ghost. And that right there is insane to me. Like, I feel so bad. Poor Mark. I really hope that maybe he could bless his house, sage his house. I don't know. What do you guys think he should do? I mean, clearly this entity is literally out to physically hurt him. He already got hurt, but the point is, it is an angry, aggressive spirit. So, what do you guys think he should do? Let him know in the comments down below. He's following us. Next subscriber / Reddit user is named Danny. Now, Danny has a kind of sweet, innocent, angelic story to tell us. Let's get into it. Also, thank you, Mark, for that glorious, creepy story. I really do hope you figure out how to get rid of this evil entity. And if you have, congratulations for surviving through that, because I too, my friend, went through some disgustingly dangerous paranormal events, and it was baffling. And don't worry, I'll give more encounters about it later on in the next video. So, Danny's story is called Guardian Angel. How peculiar. So, again, like I said, it's not exactly paranormal, but it's more angelic, which is something we need sometimes, right? So, he says that she was 14 and she decided one night to sneak out of the house. And no, not exactly to go anywhere, but instead she went onto the rooftop. So, one night, I went out of my house and I climbed up on the rooftop to the detached garage to watch a glorious meteor shower. I got up there. It was about midnight. And as I sat up there for a while, I got this sense. Yes, a weird sense that I have. It's called my ghostly sense. And I get this sense sometimes because I am relatively sensitive to the paranormal. So I call it my ghostly sense. It felt like there were knots in my stomach. I looked out of the corner of my eye, and next to me, I saw this golden, whitish light in the shape of a person mirroring my position. At first, I thought it was a trick of the light or my fatigue, because when I looked at it dead on, it just disappeared. But I went back to my original position, looking at the stars, and it was back. I repeated the same cycle a couple of times, and the light persisted until it finally just disappeared completely. So, I have plenty more stories to share. That's just one I felt like typing out right now. Well, Danny, thank you for writing in. And yeah, I mean, what a beautiful story. And actually, I know that I myself actually had one angelic encounter, and I'll have to tell you guys about that sometime, but that's for a different day. It's very, very special to my heart. And I think it's amazing, Danny, that you had a guardian angel watching out for you, making sure that you were okay on top of a rooftop. And it's beautiful, you know. Some things in the paranormal we just cannot explain away. And that's why I love the paranormal. Moving on, next story. After I read this first story that Tony has sent me, he actually has an additional scary story. So he's got two, which is really nice of him to even send one. Are you kidding me? Two? Amazing. So I really do think that he caught proof, not just him, but one of his friends. And yeah, let's get into it. So, moving on, our next story is absolutely incredible. And his name is Tony. He's 29 years old. He is from France, and he has lived there all his life. And he is a urban explorer, which is really, really cool. I love urban exploring, and I'm sure a lot of you do. And anyways, so he gave us not only this glorious ghost story, but he sent us actual proof with pictures. Now, the pictures, I've looked at them a couple of times, and I'm telling you, I see something there, and I will show you guys the pictures as I'm reading the stories, as I read the story, and you tell me if you guys see anything in them, because it's weird. It's like there's something there in the first one, and then there's not. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain. So let's read Tony's story. I found these pictures again and remember the story while sorting a file on OneDrive. The story I'm going to tell you takes place at the end of May 2019. A few friends and I, whom I'll call James, Carrie, Bruce, and Kyle for anonymity, went urban exploring at Zurich's sanatorium. I can mention the name without any concern because the site is currently undergoing redevelopment, which good. I mean, if it's a real place, I understand his concern. He just doesn't want dox the place basically. But it would be cool to look at this place in France and just kind of see what the building looks like. It's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? But please, just in case privacy reasons, don't look this up, okay? Just in case, Anyways, so James, Carrie, and Bruce are passionate about the paranormal and also came to the sanitarium to try and record evidence. I admit, I love ghost stories too. But I was mostly interested in taking pictures of this place to practice my photography skills and add content to my Urban Explorer page. So he also has an Urban Explorer page, which is really interesting. This just shows they are like actual legit urban explorers, which is amazing. I've only done a little bit, but these guys are like truly like YouTuber explorers, like those type of legit YouTuber explorers. He's like that. Anyway, he had introduced James and Carrie to urban exploring by showing them an old mansion and part of Caen's underground passages. We're all friends, and we met through the same FJT Young Workers residence. We arrived that morning after a very long and uncomfortable 2.5-hour drive from Caen. There are several buildings on the site. The ones closest to the road was the residential building for wealthy patients. It's connected by a corridor to a similar building behind it, meant for patients with more modest incomes. And that one is connected by another corridor to a third building behind it, the one for patients at the end of life. Finally, there is a fourth, much smaller building, the crematorium. You heard right, a crematorium. Creepy, very creepy. In total, the sanatorium covers 47 acres. Wow, that's a lot of land. At some point in the morning, Kyle and I decided to split off on our own and left James, Carrie, and Bruce playing Zach Bagans on the ground floor of the crematorium. Okay. I mean, I have to pause here. I'm not even surprised that they know Zach Bagans because, Zach Bagans is already super popular all around the world. So it's really cool that they are so deep in the paranormal and love the paranormal so much that they even know Zach Bagans. So that's really cool. So I just listened, and actually, the place in France he is from is called Caen, and I just figured out how to pronounce it. So my French is not the best. I took French class for 2 years. I live next to Canada, really, really close, like, I don't know, an hour away, not even. Anyways, he lives in Caen, France. See, I'm a smart cookie. Anyways, to help myself later in the day, I hid in an empty room and answered their questions by knocking once or twice on the door, scaring them while I struggled not to burst out laughing. Of course, they eventually caught me, and I can guarantee you they were mad at me for weeks on end. During my solo exploration, while the three of them were upstairs asking questions and Kyle was outside in another building, I had this stupid idea throughout the day to always take 2 photos with a half a second interval just in case I messed up one. When I looked at the pictures later, I realized that in the first one, you could see daylight at the end of the underground hallway. And in the next one, taken a half a second later, the light was completely gone. I don't remember if I used flash or not. Something or someone was blocking the light. Unfortunately, I was still walking when I took them. You should know that the hallway ends in a dead end. So, there was no place for anyone to hide or escape. I would have definitely seen someone since I was walking towards that direction. The pictures were taken with a small orange Colbex camera. I don't remember the exact model. I hope I'm saying the name right. The visit ended badly in the early evening because, well, Kyle had a panic attack, which is totally unlike him. He left abruptly and called the police on us. And the police came to find all 4 of us. We didn't get any punishment except being asked for our IDs and getting a lecture. The officers told us the site was private and dangerous, and that someone had died there a few years earlier. I checked this information, and indeed, in June 2016, during a birthday party, a young man fell 14 meters down a staircase without a railing. Kyle never explained the reason for his panic attack. He refused to hear anything about the sanitarium, the urban exploring, or ghosts. When we brought it up the following days, he'd go completely white as a sheet and say nothing. We were really annoyed because instead of calling the police, he could have just called us on our phones. When Bruce later reviewed the footage from one of the cameras he had placed and left for a few hours in one of the hallways, we saw an old soda can move a few centimeters on its own. At that moment, we were all in the auditorium eating in another building. What intrigued Bruce was that right next to the can there was a dead leaf. If it had been wind, the leaf would have moved too. I don't have the video because I fell out with Bruce and we lost touch. But knowing him, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd been asking the spirits to move something in front of the camera. To finish, we kept our visit a secret. Bruce and I edited our footage to show people weeks later. Bruce's channel no longer exists today. But on the very evening of the visit, Zoe, a close friend of mine, mother who claims to be a medium and energy healer, called me to ask what I was doing with the 4 guys in the sanatorium. She told me we had nothing to do there and that place had extremely bad energy. Zoe never told me how she supposedly knew, claiming she got information from her maternal grandfather who watches over me. My mother sometimes consults Zoe to talk to her father, whom she lost at age 9, long before I was born. Even today, I still wonder what scared Kyle so badly. A guy used to doing urban exploring alone that he ended up calling the police. Did he see a creepy person? The police would have found them while looking for us. A corpse, maybe? Or something not from the world of the living. I have 2 or 3 more small stories that convince me the paranormal exists, and I'll finish by briefly telling the one that made me believe there is life after death. Okay, so that was his first story, which was incredible, and I'm going to insert the pictures on the sides of me. And so you tell me what you guys think, what you see in them, because honestly, there's something in them. I see something in the first one, and then it's just gone. So what do you guys think? And we are going to read his 2 other stories because I think they're interesting. And, we all go through these weird encounters, and sometimes, you want to know if there is life after death. And sometimes people find out, and this is how he found out. So let's listen. During the second lockdown, we spent it at home with our mutual friend. I'll call Peter. That's also when I met Emma, a very intrusive and withdrawn girl. One evening, for fun, the 5 of us made a promise that if one of us died for any reason, they would send a sign to the others to prove there really is life after death. About 2 years later, I had more or less lost contact with Emma, who rarely used social media and almost never gave updates. Unfortunately, for an unknown reason, she took trigger word for shmua shmeidel. I can't say the word, but it is self-harm, S-H. So please, if you want to skip this part, go ahead. Now let's finish this part. So, unfortunately, for unknown reason, she took her own life by jumping off the cliffs of, the word is spelled like I just said. It's Etretat, and I listened to it in French, and I think it's pronounced Etit or something like that. I'm sorry, my French is not good. But anyways, you can look it up and hear it the correct way. Peter, our two other friends from the lockdown, and I decided to attend her funeral to say goodbye. 3 days later, each of us separately experienced something strange. On a different day, these electronic devices, a computer, a radio, and a phone, started playing the chorus of Amy Winehouse's Back to Black, playing on its own 2 or 3 times throughout the day. We didn't make the connection at first, even though it was her favorite song. But later, while we were talking about her, it suddenly clicked. I've never wanted to look up the lyrics meaning, because listening to that song still breaks me inside. It's tied to Emma, and I don't want to search for a message that might be hidden in the words. Excuse me. The next day, Peter came home from work to find all the photos with Emma in them laying on the floor along the wall, even though they had been stuck up with blue tack. As for me, I was working on the planner at the carpentry company where I worked when I suddenly smelled a faint vanilla incense fragrance, Emma's favorite. The scent stayed near me and the machine for several minutes. When I moved, the fragrance didn't. Curious, I asked my workshop supervisor to come over under the pretext of clarifying the work instructions, and even he, also very down to earth, could smell it too. He was convinced I had put on perfume. After that, I never experienced anything else that reminded me of Emma, and I like to think she came to confirm that there really is life after death, and that she left peacefully for a place where there's an Amy Winehouse concert somewhere. Next story that we're going to read is from another Reddit user that wanted to stay anonymous at first, but they changed their mind and they would like to go by being called Christopher. So this is Christopher's story, and I also would like to say thank you for your service. Yes, this person has served for our country, and that is wonderful. And yeah, so let's get into his story. He has 2 different stories. One has a picture to go with it, so I will make sure to add the picture to one of his stories. I think it's the second story that has the picture. So let's read the first one. I was about 7 or 8 years old. Me and my family lived in California. I've always known about the paranormal and the spirit world. Being my family was heavily religious, they frequently spoke of angels and how demons try to get you to sin against God, etc. Anyway, our house had a sliding glass door in the backyard. Living room had a big glass windows facing the backyard as well. For some reason, the big glass windows always creeped me out. I felt comfortable having my back facing the windows. There was an eerie feeling of heaviness and just dread. I would hear tapping from time to time, but I would just tell myself, it's the dog's nails on the kitchen floor. One day, the tapping got louder and seemed so much more aggressive. It went from a single tap here or there to a tap in threes. One night, my family had left for some event, and I wasn't feeling well, so me and my older sister stayed home. She went upstairs, left me down in the living room, and said, "Don't stay up too late." Well, I was up about, 2 a.m. in the morning when I heard that same tapping again. But now it seems like whatever it was really trying to get my attention. I said to myself, it's nothing that can hurt you. When I heard what was now something banging on the glass, I took off up the stairs, and when I got to the top of the stairs, I turned back to look at the glass door. Against my better judgment, and there was what seemed to be a figure darker than night was squatting down outside the glass door, but it was like it was peeking out from behind the wall. I can see its hand against the glass door. Its hand kept sliding off like it was trying to slide it open. There was no facial features, but I can tell it was glaring at me like it wanted me, like a predator who found its next meal. Then this thing stood up, and it had to lurch over to fit in the full frame of the glass frame door. I heard the door crack like it was unlocking, and I took up the stairs and rocket to my bed. Oh, wow. I was not ready for that type of story. Oh, Christopher. Oh my God. I don't know about you guys. That chilled me to the bone. He gave us scary, for sure. I can't even imagine being a kid and seeing a shadowy figure outside your house. Like, it definitely, it could have got in, thank God. Like, you didn't stand there long enough. But clearly it was something demonic. I mean, that's just my opinion. Thank God, like, you don't have that thing still following you. I hope not anyways. I'm assuming not. Hopefully it was just a one-off with that. But when things come in threes, they do that to mock God. Demons, I mean. They do that to mock God. It has been a proven thing. You can look it up. It's weird, I know. But, it's, I've just noticed when I've done my research that does come up quite a bit. So let's move on to Christopher's next story. And I mean, wow, what a wild ride right off the bat with the first one. So let's jump in the second one, shall we? A bit more comfortable for this next spooky story. Okay. We had training exercise that we would do where we would practice ruck marching. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. Carrying a load of 40 to 70 pounds in the dark woods under NVD, which is called night vision device. In the U.S. Army, we trained to fight at night, so we are conducted to do this exercise to get better at moving with no light, no sound. We were in a group of about 10 to 12 people. In my group, we did have 10. We kept a pace of 5 yards or about 4 to 5 centimeters apart to keep space between us. At some point, we got turned around and lost. There was a pre-planned route we were given and missed our turn. Myself, the sergeant, and a private, we will keep their names anonymous, were split up from our group and had to find our way back as we did not have our map, and we were told to leave our phones to reduce light pollution. Only the squad leader had his phone for emergencies, but he was not even with us. We tried walking back the way we came to hopefully find familiar landmarks, but quickly we realized we became more lost than before. It was here shortly after we realized how deathly quiet the forest had fallen. Whereas before, the forest was alive with nighttime animals and insects. We quickly picked up the pace, and we knew we would hit a main service road and could find our way back there. However, the more we walked, the more we felt watched and had this weird feeling that we were being tracked by something. Sergeant told us to get down on a knee, and he came over to me and Private, whispered to us to walk softly and listen. We realized there was the sound of what seemed to be something or someone parallel to us in the woods. As we walked on the trail, seemingly making sure their steps fell into ours, we decided to run to see if it kept up with us, and surely it did. We made a quick stop, and we can hear whatever it is. It realized we were onto it, and quickly it stopped, but then we saw leaves kick up at least 50 meters from us. We knew whatever this was intelligent enough to not only stalk us without being noticed, but how to stay just out of line of our sight. Even with our NVDs, we couldn't get a good picture of it. Private signaled to us he had a flashlight and is going to put this thing in the spotlight. Unsure as to what we were about to look at and possibly face off with, we prepared ourselves. Private turned on his flashlight, and this thing retreated so fast into the woods. It was hard to make out, but what we saw was this black mass, low on the ground, scurrying away and bolted further into the trees. It was low to the ground, but it did look massive. Light blurs out the NVD, so we are used to our bare eyes. Sergeant told Private to turn it off quickly so we could try and decide what to do next, as we were clearly being tracked and possibly hunted by this thing. We decided we will just keep moving, knowing there are other groups out there also. What we heard for the next 4 miles was the most haunting thing ever. Screams, crackles, noises that did not sound natural or belonging to any animal. After about an hour, we ran into another group who was heading back. Their squad leader contacted ours and let him know we were found and we will be returning back to base with them. When we got back, the 3 of us told our squad leader what had happened and what we experienced. He went ghostly white and said he all heard that too. He told us how the rest of the group were being followed by something in the woods as well. Just out of their sight and tactily moving to be in step with the group, The following days were full of soldiers speaking of their experiences and the noises they heard. And that, my friends, is the end of Christopher's story. We're going to move on, but I want to say thank you so much, Christopher, for sending us these scary, spooky, paranormal experiences. I mean, I'm just out here trying to spread the word, and it's just amazing that you guys have sent so many stories in. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to do a part 2 because I don't even know if I can fit all this into one video, but I'm trying, guys. Anyways, thank you so much. Again, thank you for your service. I really appreciate you. And yeah, make sure you guys also down below are subscribed and are following and are liking and commenting and sharing my videos, because I want us to reach 1K. Our next user from Reddit is called Quadras, and they sent me a very brief, small, tiny little baby sized story, and I still wanted to keep my promise with everybody sending me in stories. No matter what, it's still an experience or an interesting paranormal story, and I just want to read it. So this is Quadras' story. I have a lot of weird encounter stories, but a rather prominent one happened to me 4 years ago. I had just woken up, started getting ready for school, when I noticed a shadowy figure dart past my window. I'm the only one up, and the garage was completely quiet. So it wasn't a person at all. As I walked to the bus stop, I started to feel an unfamiliar presence pressing on my mind, specifically in my head. Not outside my head, but inside my head, shouting for me to let them out. But then the signal just cut off. That's when I learned I could imprison ethereal, I'm saying it wrong, ethereal beings in my mindscape. So that was their story. Yeah, I mean, what did you guys think of it? I found it interesting. Maybe they're a medium, maybe they can talk to ghosts. I don't know, ask them down below. They're all watching this video and they're all seeing their stories put into this video. So if you have any questions for them, just ask them in the comments down below, and I'm sure they will get back to you in the comments.